Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go, come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico, it's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Paulie Massimino wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix! James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win #1 in OKN Stars!
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakracing.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter, I have a Greyhound. last person doesn't even have a go-kart. Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Hello everybody and welcome to qualifying for the juniors as we are in the midst of more Kart's Grand Nationals competition. CKNA Racing from Newcastle. Justin Brent's with you. Xander Clements will join alongside the next few moments or so. Right now we are in the midst of the bottom third, taking part in their qualifying session here this afternoon. It's been a busy time so far for those you've kept an eye on during the warm-ups and happy hour. 55th through 83rd essentially is a part of this qualifying session for the first part of the rotation for the juniors. That includes Diego Di Francisco amongst those blue led the way just below the cut to get to the next group. Majority of these drivers actually coming from the blue group for the first 60 plus. That also includes drivers like Nolan Wade, Kyle Masterson, London Ashcraft among some of the randoms to mention in the name list. Some of the red drivers in the list include Mason Ward and Max Hudman, and many others. So each of these teams, remember, for those who didn't watch earlier on this morning, will get 3 laps of qualifying here to set themselves to the top of the board. Right now, these drivers looking to see where they shape up. Their practice times earlier in this group, the 1:15.2s, the top of the board, was as quick as the 1:13.5s earlier on in the day. So we'll have to see where the speed comes in as Xander jumps into the broadcast booth here. Xander, these drivers ready to see where they shape up as some of the first times come on through a part of these groups here, a part of qualifying.
Penalty flag already flying here from Jason Burgess. Jason corrected me a little bit earlier, so I'll correct myself hourly to the rest of the crowd. While in previous events with CKNA, they have had a number board along with the penalty flag to allow you to adjust yourself on the racetrack and potentially scrub a penalty that may be headed your way. That said, if you end up getting that penalty and giving up those spots, what we mentioned earlier still does apply. You only get half the penalty points, and that post-race penalty will be erased because you essentially served that penalty during the session. But there is no number board this time. It's just simply alerting drivers that a penalty was called. So basically, if you went out and rooted someone out of the way and you see the flag the next lap, you can safely assume that it could be you or was you or is you that is the driver they're referencing. But there is no board that we will know exactly who they will make that penalty call on. And in some cases, too, I'd imagine that the penalty flag may fly right as they're doing an extended review, but they know they're going to call something from the on-track activity. The whole idea behind it, of course, is to let the drivers know the officials are watching, they are looking to make a penalty, and they saw something happen that definitely will trigger one. So with all that in mind, whether or not it will keep the racing tame here tonight as we race under the lights, we'll have to wait and see. First group for junior, first of 3 that'll go out on the racetrack for qualifying. We were watching Nathan Dupuis cross the line to put his 3rd lap in. It'll be a 1:14.62 as the benchmark. Jonathan Bore 2nd on the charts as things stand. He will do no better than that on his final lap, slowing down his pace quite a bit. Lucian Lazier will be one of the last ones to cross. He was sitting 3rd, and I don't know if he will be able to improve any bit on his final time. He will not. So quick times coming earlier in the session than the full distance. Nathan Dupuis, Jonathan Bore, Lucian Lazier, fastest 3 from the opening group in junior qualifying, all hitting their best times on lap number 2. But again, this is still the first of the 3 groups. The drivers further down the leaderboard. Everything from happy hour set the lineup for qualifying. So as they roll into the scales now, this is only just the beginning of a myriad of hot lap sessions that we've got on tap here tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage throughout the day so far. This is, again, just day number 1 of 3 for the CKNA Grand Nationals qualifying. First round of heats for everybody. For the junior drivers, there was no way to double dip. This is truly their first couple of times on the racetrack today. For the class coming up right on after them, senior heavy, a good chunk of those drivers will have already taken to the racetrack and been able to kind of see how it has evolved with grip getting laid down. Because, Justin, we only really got a good read of the fields and who looked strong right off the truck on practice 4 yesterday. About half the drivers opted to sit out, not bother running their go-karts or their main engines in the rain, as we had heavy showers early in the morning that kind of bled on till about 11 a.m. And then you didn't really get a dry racetrack, dry enough for dry tires, but dry enough altogether to really set yourself up and take advantage of the testing or practice, if you will, for a setup that would put you on the pole today. So we had one session at the very end of the day yesterday, the 4th and final round of Thursday practice that kind of gave us a bit of an eye and a look into the fields of who looks strong. But then we've now had 2 more practices here in the afternoon on a track that has already now seen 4 full sessions for every single morning group. That was 6 groups up to as many as 8 or 9 through the qualifying session. That's laying down a whole lot of Vega rubber. You know, when you think about the entries being split in half down the line, we've already thrown, just off of qualifying, 200 and nearly 50 sets of tires onto the surface. Not to mention if any other drivers went out in happy hour to try and ensure that they would go fast enough to get into the fast group for qualifying, putting on another set of tires then. I would estimate maybe another 100 or so put on fresh tires for happy hour, maybe more. So at that point, you could say maybe we've thrown 500 sets of Vega tires on the racetrack. And if there's anything that we've learned over our 3 years now of covering the CKNA Grand Nationals and 2 years of covering the Spring Nationals and Summer Nationals, is that these tires lay down some rubber. It is well renowned that Vega Tires as a company, as a brand, have been one of the few that have really stayed almost 100% true and real rubber and no synthetic blend of the compound whatsoever, where a lot of the modern tires, especially post-pandemic, switched to a synthetic and real rubber blend. And with that, you didn't see the darkening of a racetrack, the grip getting laid down to the point it would rip your shoe off if you stepped in it by the end of a weekend. We have that here. This tire is phenomenal, and we'll see by the time we get into that first round of heat races, probably a second groove already be getting blackened through a lot of these corners. Not to mention, again, the natural racing line that most drivers will be on for qualifying with the way that they're gapped out and with the lines that most of them were trying to do by going out by themselves in warm-up or in happy hour or just working together. So you can see again here, a very wide, clean path, even in that angle, from the marbles and dirt and debris on the outside to the main driving groove on the inside. And even in the kink, in the green corner here, it's more than a cart and a half wide, almost 2 carts wide. And that's what will promote more side-by-side racing from corner entry to corner exit. And while that is usually a very good thing in the way that the racing has shook out here, it sometimes can become a frustrating thing for the drivers, because now the guy that you outbroke got to the inside of, and in most other cases, your club races, your regional races, national races, maybe with a different tire compound, he would lose grip and he wouldn't be able to even fight you by corner exit. Here, they're going to be able to hold it around the outside pretty tough, and one time you do it to me, okay, I'll cut you a break. The second time, the third time, now you're really pushing against the tide, and one of us is going to get frustrated with the other, and we're going to see contact. And we saw, obviously, a little bit of contact already in today's heat races.
Yes, and that already sparking up from a lot of the sections, for example, where we've seen green corner. Well, a lot of people have been able to send it there, for example, seen a little bits of contact there. Scoreboard has been in our area to 13. But also, we've seen drivers just try and time up crossovers in general to make sure they can maximize their runs coming out and maximize the grip they had coming out of said corner exit in the 90s, for example. So it's such a balance to be able to make the move and when you decide it, but better yet, it's now going to be where there's a lot of opportunity potentially to defend and squeeze someone down to be able to force them to lift and potentially cost them some momentum if they don't clear on by you. It's going to make it much more difficult in theory to be able to try and complete the pass if you can defend as the rubber builds up, as you said.
Yeah, and I think only maybe 2 corners you'll be able to send it deep enough to actually get far enough ahead of someone else that they will end up giving way, and that'll be probably that infield corner. And maybe if you could get somebody right here in the grid turn or at turn number 4, we saw a couple of passes as well. But every other passing zone usually requires the driver getting past to also play a part in the dance and get off the throttle, nudge the brake for a second and let you get fully clear of them. Otherwise, if they want to, they can make your life really difficult. We've seen guys hang tough on the outside here. Like you said, the cell tower corner, send it deep enough here, and you can easily go back 3 spots after trying to go forward for just 1, because the next 2 corners are back to the left, both of them with a major straightaway where a whole train of go-karts can push on by you. Green corner here, seen multiple times drivers try to make passes there, hasn't stuck, and then they've sent it here in the scoreboard or infield hairpin, turn 13. The reason why you can do it there and you can't do it in the green corner is now you're going back to the right-hand side for the shark fin, sharp enough that, you will see some people attempt crossovers, but it's a 90 and the shark fin's almost 140 degrees, more or less. So, with that in mind, going into the shark fin, you're willing to hang tough on the outside. If you send it deep, get crossed up a little bit, guys now on your right-hand side, when you pass down the right-hand side going into the infield hairpin, and maybe you just hang on tight enough to clear them in the shark fin, because I think from then on, you're single file. And the other note to talk about when you say about timing your run, Justin, we haven't seen any of those side-by-side finishes where the driver exiting the final turn from second was able to beat the leader, even with some help. At most of the cases, there was a head-to-head full-on drag race, so they're only relying on the slipstream. They didn't get any push. But 1 or 2 times there was a pusher in third, and it still wasn't enough to get by the leader before they hit the timing loop. Got close, but not enough. All the drivers are definitely making note of situations like that and thinking, okay, maybe I can't be second coming out of the last turn on the last lap. Maybe I need to be the lead by here, right? And we saw with senior medium, Christopher McKeithen, he defended here. He defended beautifully. There was no way around him initially.
Yeah, no opportunities to be able to force along to the right side of the track, in particular in 11 through 13, to be able to set up anything. And that's sometimes where you just have to be able to take away those options, take away those performance lines, while also being able to still have good exit speed to carry momentum around the racetrack. Some drag race scene down there at the checker flag for this group. Isaac Payne is at the top of the board right now in the time screens with a 1:14 flat, by the way, up to a 1:13.6. So the speed picking up for a lot of drivers just at the very tail end in our middle group as these drivers now approach what the top times were in final practice.
That's a heater from Isaac Payne. There's still a little bit of time for some more. Jack Fieber in the 381s yet to cross the timing loop. He might be the only one to be able to knock off Isaac, but the 477 is nearly a full second clear of the quick time for Nathan Dupuis. Dupuis got down to a 14.34, and Isaac Payne, has gotten down to a 1:13.69. So more than 0.6 of a second better. than the fastest driver from group number 1. And so what does that mean for group 3? Well, potentially a high bar set by Isaac Payne, or we're set in store to see the third group just blow the second group out the water just as much as the top drivers in the second group did to group number 1. Dupuis will end up fading down to 8th provisionally, so Payne moves to the hot seat. Jack Fieber in second, Liam Plate third, Holden Harder into 4th, Marcus Wolf in 5th, with still 30 or so karts to hit the racetrack here. 54 have turned a time so far in qualifying for junior. Our first of the afternoon rotation of sessions, senior heavy will follow them, then legends, and then senior light. There's only 4 total classes, but there's so much in each. Again, there's 3 groups for junior qualifying, 3 for senior light qualifying, and 2 apiece for senior heavy and legends.
I will say this, though, about that time that Payne put up. It's actually quicker than any of the practice times put up in happy hour, in particular by Brady Shad that led the way in the red group. So there is a good chance that time can stay up there at least in the top 5 or top 10, I would think, for Payne. It's just a matter of, will someone like Brady Shad, who is extremely quick as a driver in multiple different divisions, in multiple different series across this country, will he be able to pick up that extra little bit of pace to go with that extra few hundreds to take away the pole time, or at least set the bar to compared to some of the others? It's going to be an interesting one, I think, from him, especially knowing how good Shad is and how some of the drivers like AJ Stoner have looked this weekend as we see some of the others line up.
Senior light is fun to watch because it's a lot of the names that we see here in junior. So funny enough, we'll see a lot of familiar faces from last year's junior field at the cleanup portion of the lineup of classes here for the afternoon rotation. But with so many juniors making the leap upwards, it's opened the door for drivers that have stood on the top step as recent as 2 years ago in sportsman divisions to now be some of the headliners in our junior class for Grand Nationals number 9. A ton of talent in junior once again, presented by LYK. And with that in mind as well, folks, junior drivers, a chance to really solidify yourself as a spotlight contender, as a favorite, as a well-known racer and name. They are the class that has been selected to be the Briggs Out of the Box Challenge tomorrow, and I think there may still be room for a couple more. Comes with an engine, of course. You get to keep it after taking it out of the box, bolting it on in the quickest amount of time that you think you can, and then going out and getting a warm-up and a race session on an alternate track layout. Of course, you got to be careful. It's probably, for many of them, going to be the same go-kart and package outside of the motor that they're looking to race for a Grand Finals championship win on Sunday afternoon. But if you're feeling pretty good about your hot rod, if you feel like you know Newcastle Motorsports Park well enough that if they split up some turns or turn them the opposite way, you could still be quick, and you'd like to get a chance to perform under the lights tomorrow night, the Out of the Box Challenge for juniors, I think, is already up and over 20 drivers. It'll be a ton of fun and a spotlight for a junior category Saturday evening here at Newcastle. That'll also be free to view. It'll be a little extra coverage and an expanded audience for the junior drivers, as many of you are probably watching along right now here with our free coverage of qualifying. This is just the beginning of our final run through all divisions. Junior group number 3 of 3 on track now, just getting released from the grid. Again, senior heavy on deck with legends and then senior light. Let's throw the green flag here from Jason Burgess down the front straightaway. Pack of about 6 of them to kick off our final group to set the lineup here for heat number 1, and only heat number 1 with all the heats being progressive.
Yeah, now it's going to be, where do these drivers shape up here again? You have drivers like Sawyer Chambers to keep an eye on top, Brady Shad and AJ Stone. You have Will Wilkie, we've seen Travis Pettit was quick during the first practice in the warm-up session, but dropped back a little bit in the happy hour. Tyrone Kemper Jr. is in our name. That was amongst those that made the cut at the first. There's so many big names that we've seen here in Kart Chase throughout the year that have an opportunity to be able to perform. It's the challenge right now on trying to beat Payne's time with him sending the gauntlet down, with the way the track is turning and the way it's rubbered up here around this facility. Still will say some of the other drivers like AJ Stoner willing to be the leader and feed this entire draft train, some said draft, to see where they shape up. Will Wilkie working with them right now to try and keep up, for example, second in the lineup.
Easy to spot there in the white and orange suit. We'll take them all down the front straightaway, get our first real look at times from group number 3. Does anyone jump to the top? Off the bat, Lucas Randolph in the middle of that group in the 327. He'll go to second overall. Leapfrogging a handful. Sam Tutwiler will go even better, just a bit further back in the number 9. He's not a part of this main contingent. I believe he's actually in another group a little bit further away, but Tutwiler at a 13.93 is still hunting for about 3 more tenths of a second to knock off Isaac Payne from the pole here in qualifying. Wilkie's lap was not the best. He went to 19th that time. The next couple drivers that have moved up, Sawyer Chambers, who's in the middle of this group there on the Intrepid, he's gone to 6th. Brady Shad's gone to 7th. He's tail end of the group there on the PPK Coyote.
Yeah, right now, taking a look, though, at the front of the group, Tutwiler keeps on moving left, right, center. Hasn't really held a stable line. Just trying to see where the momentum takes him at this point. Tutwiler, for his practice rotations, was essentially top of the board. So Tutwiler knows how to put a hot lap together here. Has already put himself in a decent spot up to second. As said, can he upgrade himself a little bit more? Travis Pettit does. They have now gone into the 1:13.5s. They are 2 tenths quicker than Happy Hour.
That's big. Big out of the 29. Going down to a 13.5. So first one to go a little faster than Isaac Payne. Still another lap to go. My mistake there, Brady Shad second in this train here in the 65. He did improve again. He'll stay 6th. Isaac Payne now getting quickly pressured, although holding the next best from his group. Jack Fever all the way down to 12th now. Race Beckman's gone better. AJ Stoner's gone better. There was a lap out of Derek Wargo. Giovanni Blackerby moving up to 8th and 7th. Hudson Jack Erlin joining the top 5 behind Randolph. But Isaac Payne from Group 2 with a 1:13.69 still holding on for second. That would be pole in 2 of the 3 potential heat races if he could keep it there, of course. It's only going to matter for heat number 1, and it will be pole for heat number 1. This will be the final run to the line, though. Checkers in the air for the juniors. Last run to the flag. Travis Pettit on top, 1:13.523. Does anyone have anything for him? Brady Shad will pull out at the line and try and get a little bit more. It won't be enough. It'll be Sawyer Chambers with a big lap at the line to go to the top for now. A 1:13.47 over Will Wilkie with a career best. Travis Pettit 3rd, Shad 4th, Tutwiler 5th. But there's still more to go as they roll to the line. Let's see if anyone else can find any last-second speed to upset the top 5. Hudson Jack Erlin to 5th. Here's Derek Wargo in the number 2. He can only get back up to 11th. Waiting on the final couple karts to get to the loop here. This probably would be a big-time underdog victory if any of them could even get to the top 10, because they were the final few drivers to transfer to the fast group from Happy Hour. And that'll do it. Already closing on from qualifying quickly. We're moving ahead, I think, already to the very next session, try and make up for lost time. So, junior qualifying wrapped up. And as we take a look, Sawyer Chambers, Will Wilkie, Travis Pettit, Brady Shad, Hudson Jack Erlin. Like I said, they were quick on timing and scoring to move ahead. So we'll be on our end getting ready to look towards senior heavy here in a matter of moments. You can see them top corner of the screen getting ready down on the grid. But first, though, kudos where kudos are due. Sawyer Chambers on the Intrepid, one of only a handful here this weekend. Fastest of 90 plus, or almost 90, 83 in total in junior qualifying, presented by RLV. 15 thousandths of a second over local hometown rep Will Wilkie. Travis Pettit, again 3rd. Shad, Erlin, Tutwiler, Race Beckman, AJ Stoner, another Indiana native there in 8th. Isaac Payne and Lucas Randolph in the 327 down in 10th. So those 81 drivers that we saw turn laps in qualifying will be back tonight for their opening heat race, split into groups of just over 40. Groups A and D, it'll be Sawyer Chambers and Brady Shad provisionally on the front row for one of them. Will Wilkie will get the inside lane of the second group. He'll start alongside Travis Pettit. And then Hudson Jack Erlin will slot into 3rd on the board in the A and D heat for junior. But that's just the first 3 qualifying sessions with still more hot laps to roll and more free coverage as well, folks. We're getting ready to turn the lights on here soon enough. But right now the sun's still up and, well, shining bright on the circuit. Sawyer Chambers, pole in junior qualifying. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. Sitting by here with Sawyer. You positioned yourself perfectly in that qualifying session. Talk to me about it. You're on the pole here.
Thank you.
Tell me about the qualifying. How was it?
It was good. I mean, I thought I was going to hit Will on the last lap, but I didn't. I positioned myself perfectly, and I got the pole. So, yeah.
And again, tell me, this is your first time racing junior here at the Grands, moving up from the cadet class, really your sportsman. Did you expect to be this competitive on your first time at trying in junior?
I mean, I've been competitive at all the other races, so I thought I had a good shot, and yeah.
Well, there you guys have it. Sawyer Chambers, first time of basket in junior, he gets the pole.
Sawyer Chambers on top in junior qualifying. Senior heavy, legends, and senior light getting ready to go here. 2 groups for heavy and legends, and you can see that they're almost ready for action here for RLV Hot Lap qualifying. Senior heavy presented by Coyote Racing Chassis, a huge contingent of them amongst our 550 plus for the 9th running of the CKNA Grand Nationals. It's a quick turnaround as well for the senior heavy drivers, for those that are pulling the triple, like Owen Lloyd, going back out again in senior light, and an even quicker one for any of them looking to run legends in the very next session. Most, though, you may have seen already in Masters, and a handful in senior medium, and a few specialists in senior heavy only. But that doesn't mean, again, that the grid is any less stout than the divisions aforementioned. 2 groups apiece for a 60-driver max senior heavy field. Getting ready for the first of them, the bottom half from Happy Hour to go green from Newcastle.
Drivers now heading to the racetrack for senior heavy. Again, 2 groups for this qualifying session. 3 laps to set the fastest of the fastest lap time to be able to get track position. Bryce Frank was the first driver out when it came to the cut line, to be able to move on to the top half. He ended up finishing with a 1:14.5. That was 1 second off the top time in Happy Hour. Bryce Frank, we've seen him many times as of late. There's also someone that's familiar in the past with the Kart Chaser crew that comes up to mind. Also, Wyatt Wesley amongst some of the notables in this group. You have Alexander Rufio amongst those. You also throw in Matt Lyda, Michael Detmer back in there. Huntington Bolton is in this group. Scott Hamble, who had some issues earlier today in this pack. This grouping featuring basically 32nd on down to 62nd out of those on the entry list as we get things going. Green, green, green. We're underway for this group. It's about staying disciplined when it comes to this run. You'd have to think here, Wyatt Wesley we're taking a look at on screen. Been in the 1:14.5s also, like Frank was. That cut line, just to be able to make it to the top half of the qualifying sessions, ended up being about 21 1/1000ths of a second. That's how close some of the margins are in the middle of the field, just to be able to be here in the bottom group or the top group, to be able to showcase yourself here today. Still keep an eye on Leslie as they work their way on the race.
Yeah, the Route 66 Sprint Series regular with the family-owned Leslie Racing colors here on the OTK by himself. One of the faster ones from just below the middle cut as we see him following Bryce Frank. They'll be the first two to the line. Benchmark just set for the rest of the field. If it's anything like the previous group there in junior, lap 2 could be just as good as lap number 3. It also depends a little bit if you catch the driver in front of you and get a bit of a toe off, and Bryce Frank won't have that opportunity. Wyatt Leslie might be able to get a little bit off the back of the 17, and he does by a lot go quicker than him on lap number 1. Nearly a half second he'll lead into it. That's going to set Wyatt up really nicely here for lap number 2 as the rest of the time start to flicker on by. Matt Lyda goes quickest at the end of lap number 1. There's a look back at Hunter Bolton there in the 21 having a bit of an issue. He'll drop back behind the 7:26 of Kyle Lomar. Dalton Watson with a big toe at the end of his lap. That'll pull him all the way up to second on the first lap by. And let's see if we can't check in on some others. Christopher Mitchell there in the 94 just crossed. He went to 9th. We'll drop back and see if we can't find him as well. Michael Robbins then the 999. See if we, big lap out of Peyton Klein. 5.35 will go to the top. 1:14.347. Peyton Klein, one of the drivers that probably had an issue in happy hour. Now fastest on the circuit.
That was one of the drivers that was a good bit of time back, 2 seconds from the cut line, give or take. Has really been able to pick things up as a result here after being back in 57th in that session. That's a huge swing and a big time difference here. Kind of showcases they've been able to find what they want to adjust here for Peyton Klein in that case and be able to help themselves to be able to find whatever they need here to have a true chance to be able to be in track position. Benson, though, is also still looking very sporty here.
Yeah, that was a big lap out of Giovanni Benson. We'll see if we can't find the 056. He was one of the first ones to cross the loop there in the 1:14.311. Peyton Klein in the 5.35 will be one of the last ones to cross. Let's see. Here's one of the, there is Benson on the GFC machine. Giovanni, 300ths ahead of Peyton Klein, but again, that was Peyton's first lap. So can the 5.35 improve on lap 2? He will not. He'll go a bit slower. 1:14.904 for Peyton Klein that time by the loop. Matt Lyda didn't improve much. Gabe Sessler will. Jason Rothman will. They're even further back. They just now crossed the timing loop for their second lap. So they'll be one of the last ones, potential buzzer beaters. Jason Rothman and Gabe Sessler, 2 other drivers that may have had some issues in final practice that have put them here in the slow group.
Yeah, we talked about Rothman having experience in Canada, being able to be a champion when it comes to CKNA competition up at the Canada division. Right now is in a great spot, but the rest of these drivers taking the checker flag. Speaking of spots, Matt Lyda, who we've seen sparkle in the MGM Kart in the regional races, to the top of the board for now.
So with Matt Lyda moving up, let's see if who has an answer. Hunter Bolton will. He'll go to a 1:13.86. That'll be 2.5 tenths clear of Matt Lyda, but we're waiting probably for another few seconds. Here's Mark Steele coming across the line. That was a decent toe lap for him. I don't think it'll be enough to really move him too high up the board. Or it looked to be. My mistake there, a different one of the Beryl Art machines. I know Mark Steele's probably got a packed house under his tent this weekend. Final 2, here we go. Sessler to the loop. Can't do any better than Bolton that time. He'll get to within 200ths. It'll hold to the end of the session. We followed Hunter Bolton there in the opening half a lap. It didn't look amazing. He ends up phenomenal. As fastest in the first of 2 groups for senior heavy goes the 21 at a 1:13.863, just 200ths over Gabe Sessler. Good news for both drivers there with a 2/10 cushion to Matt Lyda. That should bode well to potentially jump above a few more of the fast group drivers that are getting the engines fired on the grid right now.
Yeah, and put this into perspective. If you compare that to the times from earlier on in happy hour, those times they just put up would have put them somewhere amongst the top 5 in regards to those times. So, obviously, Bolton and Sessler have been able to make the adjustments they need to be able to find the speed possible. We've seen Hunter Bolton in multiple different races pop up very well. Of course, amongst those who have had some experience with our crew also, but Gabe Sessler amongst those doing the double duty that is performing extremely well, who we've seen do well in qualifying earlier on in the medium category and be able to position himself amongst the top 15 or so. So the Sesslers also going to be very fast, a part of these sections, a part of GFC. Those GFC karts seem very well tuned for this track here, with Benson also in the top 5.
Again, though, this is just out of the slow group. What they learned maybe from earlier in the day might be able to help a little bit, knowing that, again, they were struggling to start the day in senior medium for their handful of entries they had. The Sessler brothers and Kyle Wick both, or all three, didn't really have too much to write home about to start from qualifying. Made up some spots in that opening heat. They'll start better. Now that's a good time for Gabe here in the 41. Can it get him a little higher than the middle of the pack here? Because unlike in senior medium and senior light, the drivers in senior heavy are going to face each other all weekend long. So a 30th in qualifying doesn't sound nearly as good in senior heavy as it would in senior light or senior medium. Obviously, a smaller class, it's a little bit easier to get to 30th, but you're going to have to pass every single kart to get the points that you need to improve against your competitors. Whereas in those split divisions, like in junior or in senior light, you only got to pass one, and it counts basically as 2.
Yeah, exactly, and it's going to be where it's going to be so difficult to be able to plot and plan things for some of these drivers, absolutely, here in general. So there's so much they have to be thinking about on how they're going to approach things, especially compared to earlier on where we've seen things be a bit of a slow burn for some of the classes. Now, I think we're just a few moments away from the drivers in the top half of the group being able to hit the racetrack at least, as all these drivers make their way through to the scales to make sure they're up to weight. Speaking of drivers up to weight, they look to see if they can weigh themselves against these times up on the board. Here we go.
Yep, final half of senior heavy. And here we go. Handful of PPK Coyotes in the first few that were quick in the happy hour session. There's James Overbeck on the number 48. Henry Wheeler was a little better than him. Eric Fagan's lined up right behind Christopher McKeith and further back already. They're going to be in a prime spot to put a couple of toe laps together from the back of the first 3, it looks like. So headed out. There's Mark Steele, I believe, first of the pack. Senior heavy, presented again by Coyote Racing Chassis. In total, this should be a full sold-out house of 60. And all 60 of them will be taking the green. That'll be the biggest field we've seen take the green flag in heat racing action yet today, Justin. Jason Burgess will have his work cut out for him to try and get a clean start down right here to turn number 1. But it's an easy way to throw the green for qualifying. Mark Steele will kick things off there in the Mark Steele Motorsports entry with Henry Wheeler, his teammate and protege for the last few years. He's tuned for Henry for the majority of Henry's OKN and KA 100 starts. But the two of them have a ton of fun at these CKNA weekends. And it's incredible that guys like Mark Steele and plenty more that are here this weekend are running teams on their own, as well as getting out on the racetrack and getting behind the wheel. I'm sure it's a little bit easier to probably do the driving at the end of the day versus the beginning of the day. You've already moved into the tent. You've already gotten all the ice dropped off. Everything else from the first half of the day, gremlins that may have materialized with any of the drivers from those first batch of sessions probably worked themselves out. And then on the flip side, you have a guy like Eric Fagan there in the number 1. Like Mark, eligible for Masters, raced in Masters earlier, but he's just out on his own. All by himself, privateer entry, the number 1. No extra logos on, just a box stock Tony kart, black helmet, black suit, and a clear visor. He's already ready for the night show here tonight. Doesn't even want to waste the time to switch from a dark to a clear one for when we eventually turn the lights on. And as we look at the first couple laps coming in here for the fast group in senior heavy, let's see how much it changes up top. Bolton's time will hold initially, and then it'll drop down to 3rd now. Christopher McKeith into the top, Fagan to 2nd, Overbeck to 3rd. Sessler's time for the first group hanging on for 5th provisionally. Here's Sean Meyer in the number 30, former CKNA Spring Nationals winner, multi-time Gold Cup champion, and a perennial front runner in the senior classes that now finds himself solely in senior heavy and in Masters. And the blue and white Coyotes, easy to spot. There's the Coyote Kid himself, another long-time, highly decorated, multi-time national champ there in Chris Carroll in the number 12. So That's the fun part of senior heavy. You see so many of the Masters drivers drop into the 15 and over ranks against some of the kids like Christopher McKeithen, who I don't even think has turned 18 years old yet.
Yeah, it's a good barometer for some of them to see where, for the younger drivers at least, where they stack up against some of the veterans of the series and of racing in general, because these are potentially them 20, 30 years down the timeline where they'll be having to race along in general in their classes. But it's also going to be a hodgepodge on how the speeds compare with the different privateers we see compared to the big organizations that you'll have pop up here. Fagan right now amongst the top runners. Christopher McKeithen staying top of the board in the 113.2s. Randall Potter, name we haven't mentioned too much yet today, jumping up to second, one of the Roderick Racing Development Coyotes, up into that spot right in front of Christopher Wakefield. So 3 Coyote chassis, a part of the top 3, but 2 different organizations with their representation as they squabble.
Let's check out the middle of this group here. This is a 4-pack of them. That is the 05 machine right in the middle that we caught there. Cody Sabota. Here is the that's Jamie Bradford rolling right through in the 622. And James Overbeck, meanwhile, has gone to command of that leading group that we were keeping tabs on as well. Christopher McKeithen, where does he find himself? Has he dropped out of this main pack? I don't see him on the circuit unless he may have pulled in after that burner lap he just laid down. A 113.28, that is flying. That knocks Bolton back by half a second, so he's happy with it. He'll let it ride. Fagan can only get within just about a 1/10.5. It's still nowhere near enough. McKeithen still holding here as we go to the line for some of the further back groups that probably raced a bit too much. Here's a look maybe for a decent toe lap for Owen Lloyd and Eli Fox. Where will it jump them? AJ Roderick will get better than both of them. He'll go to 4th. Clay settles 5th. And that's most of your fast group on through. Christopher McKeithen puts 2 laps in and puts it on the truck through the scale line already, probably for the 919, or first in line at least. At a 113.286. Christopher McKeithen, final laps on the hot seat, final karts across while he sits on the hot seat before it's official. And there you have it, as Adam Maxwell will be the last one to take the checkers. Christopher McKeithen, a 113.28, and he knew it. In fact, he's already standing by down in the scale here with Caleb.
Christopher, we were just watching that last lap from in here, right? Lap 2, tell me about it, because you pulled in early.
Yeah, first lap, I was kind of setting up. The guy behind me, they sent him out very close. I don't know if there was just an issue with the consistency or what, with the spacing, but yeah, I saw him behind me, and I was just hoping he didn't pass me. And then James, Mark, and Henry up in front of me, I started catching them on the first lap a little bit, and the second lap I could really feel myself closing in, and I caught up right to James at the end, and it was a great draft.
Talk about the turnaround time for you, right? You're running senior light here in the afternoon as well. It seems like you're in the tent and you're right back out there going back to grid. Tell me about how difficult that is. I mean, you've done it in the past, right? But this year with all 3 classes, your first time doing that. How is it?
Yeah, I mean, this morning it was really laid back just with medium, but with light and heavy, I mean, I probably had like 10 minutes between the happy hour and the warm-up sessions, and it was just super tight. But my mechanic, Chad, Brandon Jarzakrak, he's over there waving at me. John Seglum, Jim Lapari, he even gave me a push. Austin Hill, James Overbeck, they've all been helping me out in the pit. And even the Lorencos, and I'm very grateful for them. And also Victor Peters. And yeah, hopefully we can keep the ball rolling.
Thank you, Christopher. Best of luck in senior light here in a couple of moments.
Thank you.
Halfway in, halfway to go for RLV Hot Lap qualifying from Newcastle Motorsports Park. The CKNA Grand Nationals rolls on. We return with the Legends Division, first of 2 quali groups.
Are you stuck with your kart racing? Not sure the ideal kart setup? Or going to a track for the first time? Well, Kart Class has the answers for you. Our online portal has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help your kart racing. From kart setup advice to track guides that are targeted specifically to your circuit, or the driver coaching aspect with mindset, racecraft and driving techniques. If you want to take your karting to the next level, visit us at kartclass.com.
Paulie Massimino wins in KA. Paulie Massimino is a winner in OKN Stars.
Take your driving to the next level with one-on-one coaching from 2024 OKN Stars champion, Paulie Massimino. Kart rental options are available if you'd like to keep yours at home, and drivers in all classes are welcome, from Briggs 206 to Mini to K100 and X30. With in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions, each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
The Legends are now onto the racetrack for their qualifying session. Brought by FHS as we continue on our qualifying. Brian Berger was the first driver out from making the top group. The 1:15.4s. 1.5 seconds back, Brian Cassidy, who set the fastest time in happy hour earlier on. Michael Wells, Joe Weber, Jeff Chalmers, should say, on some of the drivers that are in this respective group. We've seen earlier on with the Masters, for comparison, it took about to the halfway point before things started to heat up for the race lead there, as drivers were willing to be content to score some points for the heats to be able to set themselves up good for the grand finals on Sunday. But these drivers now ready to see where they slot out as they prepare to see where they will rank up here on the racetrack. Berger, again, the first one on the racetrack as we run and lead this line around the racetrack.
Just like we saw with Senior Heavy, this is split in half. Bottom about 25 from the Legends Happy Hour and the top 25. So Joe DeBover there in the 21 for LSR Motorsports, and CRG was the one we were mentioning a moment ago. Here is the 199 as well. And as we look at live timing here, Brian Berger does have some company not too far back, a fellow Comet Eagle, Michael Wells. You heard from Christopher McKeithen talking about how with the way that the gaps ended up shaking out for him in qualifying, it just made it where the second lap ended up being the better positioned lap, and he had to make it the money lap. That could be the case here for Michael Wells. Might be the third lap, though, as he sets up here at the end of lap 1 towards lap 2. Depends how quick the 199 of Brian Berger goes. First group from Legends, first lap's coming in. Michael Wells will go to a 1:15.22. Joe DeBover will slot no better than third. Then Chalmers, Scott Monson will move up to second. Curious if any of the drivers all the way at the bottom of the leaderboard that were sent out at the back, anyone that might have had an issue in final practice, could surprise us. That was a decent lap there out of the 240 of Anthony Harwin. He'll pick up a handful of spots from his happy hour ranking, leapfrogging some. But the first lap, you can only tell so much. Sun's also starting to set here too as the track begins to cool off a little bit, and the air temps do as well. And the question becomes, how advantageous will it be to be in the later groups for Senior Light coming up? You heard from McKeith, and it's a quick turnaround. There's only one more group for Legends, and then just like that, we'll have our final 3 qualifying sessions of the 2025 Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, all 3 divisions of Senior Light. And with that third class, we'll be pushing right around 7 o'clock at what we're tracking right now. We're pretty much, for the most part, right about on schedule where we want to be. 6:10 p.m. local time. This session rolled right on time at 6:07. And as they put 1 lap to go on it, let's see if anything else changes across the line. Scott Monson's first lap still holding decent. Jeff Chalmers will go a little better in the number 12. He'll improve just a tick there to move up the board here in qualifying. But Michael Wells still fastest, 1:15.223 from his first lap. Might have caught a little bit too much of the back of Brian Berger on the second one.
Yeah, possibly at this point. Wells, I don't think is in the best spot. I think Wells actually made the pass around. That might be the bigger factor on that timing. We see them just a flash of the colors as they pass on by. All this as well over not having any draft to work with and keep it on his lap, but able to just do what he needs to do well if it was a race. But the thing is, again, with this package, you need to be having some sort of dance partner at the very least to be able to get the best possible time. And sometimes when it comes to Masters of Legends, you'll see some of the separation build up here, or it can be that challenge where they have to fight to get that draft in the first place. As they draft together up front, Wells does not improve again.
Yeah, that lap was close, to be fair. Only 2/10 off his best, but his opening lap going to hold. It'll do the same for Scott Monson. Brian Berger will go a little better on the final lap. He'll do still no better position-wise than fourth. Closely packed here in this first group of the two in the Legends class. Nothing really changing on the final time by inside the top 10. And again, the fast group's still yet to roll, so we're keeping an eye out to the grid as well for all the names that are ready to head onto the racetrack. 48 drivers on tap for Legends here from the CKNA Grand Nationals. Senior Light will follow them up, and then it'll be KC Premium members action with heat number 1 for the final run through the lineup on day number 1 from CKNA Grand Nationals number 9. So 4 qualifying sessions left. And if you're just watching for the free previews here, folks, we'll be back again tomorrow and Sunday. Warm-ups kick off bright and early in the morning once again. And then it's 2 rounds of heat races tomorrow, capped off with the Briggs Out of the Box Challenge Saturday night for the junior drivers. Registration still open as of this moment, with the final spots for that getting taken up as well. Hope everyone's enjoying taking in the scenery. We sure are here. It's been actually beautiful weather. Got a little bit hot not too long ago, Justin, but other than that, nothing to complain about from day number 1 and the conditions we've been greeted with here at CKNA Grand Nationals number 9.
Yeah, it's been mostly sunny all throughout the day today. Hasn't really been a cloud in the sky either. It's been a...
Once we got the fog out of here.
Yes, the start of the day.
You did a good job with the broom on that, by the way, going out and pushing the air.
Yes, I went out with the broom. It was the size of the entire garage area there and swept it away. And it's somewhere, I don't know, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean right now. In all seriousness.
That's pretty far.
Yes.
You pushed it from here to the Pacific Ocean.
Yes, absolutely. But in all seriousness.
That's big.
Yes, but in all seriousness, it's been beautiful weather.
No wonder why you take naps all the time. You're doing that kind of legwork.
Well, it's a long time to be able to make your way over here in terms of the rest side of things. But drivers have to make sure their energy is all in the right spots to make sure, like we as broadcasters too, are able to maximize when we're in the booth and maximize when we're on the racetrack and exert that energy to the top of the best.
Well, if you do have enough energy while you're off the racetrack and your helmet off, there's plenty to see and do here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Of course, the Racers Grill continuing to serve a wide variety of items on their menu in the main restaurant building. Of course, if you're headed down that way, you'll pass by Vendor Row. There's a Toyota Racing's brought a full GR Cup car, the Toyota GR86, and Toyota Racing, one of 2 official partners of CKNA Grand Nationals number 9, alongside Odenthal Racing products. There's also, of course, Styled Garage, where you can get your official CKNA Grand Nationals merch, and a ton more down that entire vendor lane all the way into the Racers Grill, where they've got the TVs up as well, where you'll be able to see all the angles that we do from right here in the scale line, along with all 4 phenomenal shots around this 1.1 mile circuit. This last little bit that we're holding up for from Legends qualifying, if I'm looking at timing right, it looks like they may have already jumped ahead of us here and gone towards Senior Light. So we're still quiet on the grid for a moment, but the rumble will be brought back to us here any second right now with the final few class sessions to set the grids for the opening round of heats here in the afternoon section. We'll take a break.
Gee.
Looks like we're missing the engine. What the hell am I supposed to tag?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You're gonna make weight. Okay, you're good.
I'm sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. You know, it makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, you know, just shout out Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle.
How the did you just win? Doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
Checkers in the air in Legends qualifying. Couple of buzzer beater lap times hitting the board now. Todd Bolton to the top of the pylon by a lot, nearly 3/10 clear on fellow Coyote Ryan Cassidy, the two drivers that went 1 and 2 and dominated last year's main event. To the top of qualifying with a few more karts still to roll. Doug Cook third, Corey Flint fourth, Tim Schutt into the top 5 over J.D. Gunn, James Perkins 7th, Todd Barron, Jeff Scott out of the first group right now, still holding nice. In 9th, I believe, Eli Yanko 11th, and he will not go better on his third time by, just behind Ronnie Kleiss. Tim Stifel in 12th, Scott Falcone 13th, John O'Keefe, Jamie MacArthur, your top 15. And we've got them all here from the first group as well, how they've slotted in. AKN's on Rob Howden to 21st, splits the middle, right in the thick of things, ahead of Michael Wells, who was quickest in the first group. He drops to 23rd. Don Harrington down concludes the field down at 45th, but Todd Bolton, 3/10 clear in Legends qualifying. There he is standing with Caleb.
Thank you, Ashley.
Well, we talked yesterday, right? we talked about what it was going to take to beat Ryan Cassidy here this weekend. What a start to it. Tell me about that lap, Todd.
I'll tell you what, morning warm-up, I went P3. I put on new tires, and the car was really good. I felt like it was probably too good, so I dropped a pound of air for happy hour, and tires were barking, the car was sliding, and so we put new rubber on, and I bounced the air back up, and I made a small gear change, and man, that thing was rolling. It was good.
Yeah, and again, I want to take you back to last year because you finished across the finish line second by a couple of inches. How hungry are you this weekend to change that luck here?
I would love to get the W this weekend. That would be the ultimate, but there's a lot of really fast guys still behind us, and there's probably still a lot of guys fast in front of us, so we got a lot of work to do, but this is a great start to the weekend.
And a lot of racing to go as well. Best of luck to you, Todd.
Thank you.
Great start to the weekend for the top two finishers in inverted order from last year's main event. Senior Light, the final class to qualify. They'll be rolling on the racetrack here shortly. From Spiceland, Indiana, Justin Prince, myself, Dana Clements, Caleb Vieska, and the KC crew are ready to bring you your last round of quali sessions after this.
You need it? We got it. At Kart Eat Parts, we are your complete online aftermarket kart part superstore. From chains to bearings to bumpers and components, we've got it in stock and ready to ship straight to your door from our base in Ontario, Canada. Check us out online at karteparts.ca.
I'm really starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of
course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayKara.com. At ShopPayKara.com, you can get free shipping orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayKara.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Three groups on the racetrack for CKT Racing Products Senior Light. We're following Joseph Hewitt here in the 685. He had an early exit from happy hour, as did Kelvin Zing. Two drivers to keep an eye on. Kelvin had a broken right rear bumper, and Joseph was looking at both rear tires to see if they were a bit flat. So the PPK Coyote ends up being one of the first ones below the cut line from the middle third of a nearly 100 driver total senior light field.
Yeah, this field is going to be a very busy one with 86 starters overall that were set to start for this event. It's a stacked amount of drivers, and it's just in this bottom third alone, some of the familiar names. Austin Speck comes to mind. You have Ben Lawrence that's amongst this field. One of the drivers, Braden Heber, who's been a very good driver in the club scene in this area for a long while, and 2 different racetracks as a part of this grouping. There's so much speed just in the back half of this field, in the back third, I should say, that arguably are some of the best when it comes to this region that are going to have some big-time challenges here today at Newcastle.
Yeah, this track is definitely developed more than any other event for the majority of your senior light drivers that they've experienced, outside of maybe, again, if they were with us at the Summer Nationals at MCC, the first time CKNA has held a major at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, and there was a lot of grip and a lot of rubber buildup there in the July 4th weekend heat. But here, even with the cooler fall temperatures, beautiful Friday here in Newcastle, Indiana. A little bit of rain yesterday kind of delayed the track development too, with less drivers going out and taking up until really that final round and a half of practices to have slick tires lay down any bit of Vega tire grip. And now, nearly almost through with qualifying. Over 400, probably over 500, maybe 600 sets of tires already thrown on the circuit. And you can see how blackened the groove has become. How quick will this first group get down to? That was a 1:12.97 for Heber. And looks like we just had one driver go much quicker to the top of the pylon. They are still trying to figure out who they've got, actually. That's gone that fast. That is Major Makovsky's, who has gone all the way quickest. And so Major now at a 1:12.662, a very high bar set for the rest of your senior light field in group number 1 alone. I think we could easily get down to the mid to low 111s with a good burner in that fast group coming up. We'll see if we can't find Major. He's in the 374. Connor Baker also second quick on the Comet Eagle in the 05. Brayton Heber third. Jake Sessler fourth for the Wicked Racing GFC contingent. Matt Landers on the Prodigy Motorsports Maranello. And then Jaden Casas in the 424. Jaden Hundal in the 322. Austin Speck, Jamie Stropko, Brennan Taylor. Your provisional top 10 coming to the line. This will put the end of the session on tap for us here as they quickly populate. Where will the fast lap come from? Which group will it be? This looks to be Nagisa Yoshikawa's group across the line. It won't be enough to go to the top. Major Makovsky's 374. REM Cosmic still holding quickest. There's Sessler. He'll jump to third. Connor Baker on the Comet Eagle still holding nicely in second. Undial there across the line. Now the Prime Power Team Barrel Art can only get to fifth. And to the line for the last couple here out of the slow group, the first group of 3 for Senior Light to take to the racetrack. Do we get anyone else to upset your top 10 going into group number 2? Looks like Makovsky's time will hold. Major Makovsky's and the 374 REM Cosmic from Canada by a 10.5 over Connor Baker and Jake Sessler, setting the pace at a 1:12.662. First of 3 groups here in Senior Light qualifying. And it looked like it was clean top to bottom for the field. That should pretty quickly roll group number 2. In total, based on the list, we have 86 on tap for Senior Light here tonight to qualify. And there'll be a short operational break. And after the fast group rolls at 6:44 local time. And then we'll go straight to heat racing action at 7:05 Eastern, 4:05 Pacific, with Junior for groups A and D. We're actually running a little bit ahead of schedule, Justin, here. We're a couple minutes ahead before Senior Light group number 2 set to roll. They're going at 6:35. We're still showing 6:32 and 30 seconds.
Yeah, we've been able to keep a good efficient clip when it comes to being able to gain back time in the schedule after a little bit of scheduling in the practice side that's seen some slight delay. But that should show just the effort put in by CKNA to be able to get everybody into the karts, onto the racetrack, a part of the respective sessions without costing too much time on the board, and being able to keep on set schedule to make sure all the drivers also know what's going on in the loop. Because remember, for a lot of these teams, it's about they're all over the paddock. They're going all over the way from the oval. They're coming all the way from the far side of the fencing. In many cases, it's going to be, am I going to be able to get there on time? And part of that is getting well ahead of schedule really helps be able to keep things clockwork for that said scheduling.
Well, at least you know when you're going on the racetrack, of course. The PA system here at Newcastle Motorsports Park is solid, but it doesn't necessarily reach all the way back to the dumpsters and the far end of the property by the back fence. Of course, anyone can watch and listen here on YouTube here with our feed or at 98.1 FM. But yeah, like you said, Justin, being able to know when you're on track and having the series do a great job at staying on schedule here, even with a red flag in the sportsman class. Luckily, it was the last session of the morning rotation, so we ate into a bit of our lunch break, and the officials did as well to try and roll things right back about on time with the warm-up sessions here for the afternoon groups. And now, here we are approaching our final 2 qualifying sessions of the 2025 edition of the Cup Karts North America Grand National. Senior light at 86 total drivers. Fast time, again, a 1:12.662 for Major Makovsky's. There you can see the second group suited up, engines fired, looking to the official at the front of the grid for the command to head onto the racetrack and try to set themselves up for a solid weekend here. You'd be surprised how often a tiebreaker based on qualifying decides more than even one position up for grabs. Multiple drivers ending up tying on points after 3 heats are run with this wide of a spread. And of course that difference, you know, the decimal point essentially of qualifying better or worse, if you're tied on that bubble spot of 56, could be the difference of going to sleep comfortable, albeit maybe a bit down Saturday night, or going very stressed out knowing that you're starting pole in the last chance qualifier that usually will find a few fast drivers with some wrecks carving up through the field and setting a quick time to get one of those 4 spots. But here we go for group number 2, middle pack of the 84, so drivers that probably were missing a little bit in happy hour, maybe didn't feel like they got a good lap, but that they have a fast piece. You heard from Todd Moulton there, the Legends top qualifier, saying, yeah, I just needed to make a few more adjustments after putting on tires in happy hour and the kart came to life, and the track's definitely a lot different now than what it was 2 hours ago when they were back on it. So adjustments or not, you're still also, or adjustments needed or not, you're still having to make them to keep up with the evolution of the surface. And as we check in here with Eli Fox in the 01 on the new Gen Motorsport machine, dropping back here to run 3rd in line, maybe find himself a little bit of a tow, taking it easy on the outlap to bring the tires up to temp. It'll be about a 5-car grouping. That'll be good for them because you know the fast drivers will find each other one way or another. Here we go to the line. Green flag in the air, Group 2, qualifying underway here for Senior Light.
And a lot of talent is in this group, and to keep an eye on, too, not just those names you just mentioned like Eli Fox, but you have Owen Lloyd that fell into this grouping, Austin Hill in this group. You have Kel Zimmerman in this group, Christopher Wakefield, just among some of the various drivers here that we know have race-winning speed that just didn't put down the happy hour time. So they're going to be pushing very hard to be able to set the barometer to be at least in the top 10 for when we go heat racing in about a couple hours time here, you'd have to think, especially in the case of Lloyd, because he's been knockout fast every single class today. And he, mind you, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast earlier on today during the morning sessions, won all of his regional division championships in this type of racing.
Owen Lloyd on that easy to spot red and black South Georgia Karting MGM. Now has Christopher McKeithen joining him on running the triple senior light, senior medium, and senior heavy here at the CKNA Grand Nationals. Owen's no stranger to it. They've got the format down to be able to focus on each package individually and be competitive to fight for wins. Both he and McKeithen had it easy in the morning, just the one class to focus on, but now 2 back-to-back quick ones. And again, Owen with a quick turnaround, not being all the way in that fast group, being in the middle of this one. Christopher Wakefield will go to 3rd. He's the best of the opening laps for CKT Senior Light. He'll go to a 1:12.81, but the quick times from Group 1 on lap 3 still holding nice for Major Makovsky's and Connor Baker. Dylan Amundsen towards the back of this second group just clocked in a 1:12.86 of his own, so that's a good start for him. Owen Lloyd, we're watching him right now in traffic. He's currently slotted 12th with the blend, but just 1 lap in. Still 2 more, plenty of time to try and improve on the laps here and see if he can't go a little faster.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job working together, these two. You see here, especially with Lloyd being able to pick up the draft as he almost timing it a little bit too early, though, to the bumper of Hill. That's the thing. There's not a lot of distance between the two of them to be able to pull down the straightaway unless he tries to go for a pass, maybe coming to the white flag for them. Will there be any changes? Cade Yeager jumps to the top of the board as the first time start to populate. Lloyd jumps to third amongst some of the shuffling. So the 64 for now, up on the top by 2/10.
1 lap still remains, but that was indeed a very good lap for Cade Yeager. I don't know if he'll go much better. This lap, he's already caught up to the back of Emily DeMaster and the rest of this group here as they work their way to the cell tower. In fact, he'll start making some passes. He'll go by Emily going into the 180. And further back, Owen Lloyd has at least improved a little. That'll move him up nicely. Dylan Amundsen with a big lap as well. A 1:12.39 that'll show in a moment. And that'll put him all the way to the top of the leaderboard. Major Makovsky's is still holding on to third by a thread over Carter Kilgo, who's now jumped up to the 4th spot overall. This pack battling, they're going to be really hurting here for times. Eli Fox, you can see, frustrated by it. Trying to ID the kart in front, but that chrome and blue machine looks good. Might be a contender for the best looking go-kart here award this weekend. Checkers in the air for that first group across the timing loop. Dylan Amundsen still has the best time. He's a little ways back, a good ways back. Here's Wakefield with a nice toe to the checkers. Don't know if it'll be enough. It won't be. Jackson Young with a big lap, though, in the 670 will go fastest, a 1:12.28. And there's Amundsen, top of the screen on the blue and green MGM. Does he have an answer? Needs a 1/10 of a second to get it. At the line, he will not. So Group 2, the hot seat, now gets inherited by a rookie, Jackson Young on the PPK Coyote. Cale Zimmerman on the VLR, moving up to second quietly there on that last lap. Also, nice lap for him. And we still have, of course, the heaviest of hitters of them all, the fastest group for Senior Light, on deck and ready to go green here in just a moment. So while Jackson Young's lap is knocking on the door of a 1:11, will it be enough, or will we see that new time bracket, that new second bracket broken into by some of the drivers still yet to roll? At least the good news for Jackson here, he's better than 56 of them. 57 drivers have turned laps so far. The bad news again, there are still nearly 30 yet to roll. How about Henry Wheeler? How about Will Lawler? And then you get to some of the All-Stars joining the cast this year. Diego Ramos, the number 13, looked good in happy hour. I think this might be one of his first weekends going as slow as he is in a 4-stroke. A little known fact about Diego, he's able to do driver coaching inside of a Mini Swift. He actually fits.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is actually an interesting fact to say.
So this might actually be in his wheelhouse. I don't know. Used to the 9-horsepower packages, but normally on a little go-kart. He's on a full-size one. He's fast enough. And here's a look at a full-sized, packed view from Newcastle Motorsports Park. One more qualifying session to go. An amazing sight here at sunset hour. And you couldn't, I mean, we've fit a few more entries in this place in the past, but it's hard to believe that we have with how packed it is once again for the biggest karting race by the numbers in North America. It is a pilgrimage, as I mentioned. You'll see campers galore, tents all around as well. This is one big weekend, one big week, if you will, that everyone looks forward to on the calendar. And this pit area, this campground, it will be rocking through the evening, and I think they all will get a big kick out of the Briggs Out of the Box Challenge tomorrow night for some added Saturday entertainment. That's not the only thing Saturday night as well. There's also a cookout hosted at the NCMP Racers Grill starting right after we finish the third round of heat races as a prelude into the Briggs Out of the Box Challenge. So there will be a lot of activity, a lot of fun there. And there's a look as well, easy to spot from the Skycam, the Toyota official, one of many Toyota official racing rigs here. That's where the Nitro karts are pitted out of, in the relationship that Nitro Motorsports and Nitro Kart have with TRD, and Toyota Racing bringing up some of Nitro Kart's own talents.
Of course, the most notable that's been with them since day number 1, Ben Mayer and Brent Cruz. Ben's getting ready to make his NASCAR Truck Series debut coming up at the Charlotte Roval, and Brent's already made, well, more than a handful of debuts and heads turned, and I think a lot more heads will turn to see him as well, a driver that most recently raced less than a year and a half ago in Cup Karts North America competition when he and Connor Zillich decided to bring out a couple of Briggs 206 machines to have some fun at the Spring Nationals. But for the Grand Nats, number 9, doesn't get much better, Justin.
Yes, indeed. It's a very vast racetrack in general because of how much this land just spreads apart. And was walking earlier on in the week, going in between all the garage areas just to be able to get a fit of where is each team, where am I going to be able to find each camp. It was a lot.
Yeah, this is one of those races that you could spend the whole week and not even know another team was there.
Exactly.
Unless you were watching all the on-track sessions. So it's a testament to the Newcastle Motorsports Park staff that are able to park them all, get everybody in. Many of them will stay well late into the night, Wednesday night, and even through the day Thursday. There were still more trailers rolling in during practice day of people that may have had a woe or miscue on their way getting into town. But now it's time to release the field for senior light qualifying. Braden Zerves, fastest in happy hour, leads them out onto the racetrack. And as he looks over at the power plant, as if there may be something amiss, or just maybe trying to drag the brake a little bit and find a dancing partner in Henry Wheeler behind him. As they have gapped them off the grid, Henry's going to drag the brake as well. He wants to be all by himself, doesn't want to get anywhere near, I think, anyone in front or behind because he's sandwiched. You can see that. There's a lot of blue and white here from the fastest in senior light qualifying. Yeah, there you go. Henry Wheeler shaking giving him the wag of the finger.
Yeah, kind of saying, okay, I know you're looking at the motor to try and prove a point here, but I know what you're thinking. Okay, you go ahead. Bye-bye. I'll see you next time.
Oh, the gamesmanship's underway. Henry Wheeler not playing any of it. He's just going to go out and run his own laps here in the number 0 for Mark Steele Motorsports and try to find himself a lap time that can at least hold up decent against Jackson Young's number 670 at a 1:12.28. Zerves closing in on him here. He's going to get a bit of a tow on this second lap after dropping back. And I don't know if the games are going to be done. Now, if we check further back, you'll probably see some other packs that have formed. You can see 3rd, 4th, and 5th released from the grid are also bearing down on Zerves and Wheeler. And there's going to be a lot of big names there. Oh, top of the hill. Colin Warren catching up to one of the many Beryl Art machines. The driver just dropped a tire in front of them. Let's see if we can figure out who that was behind Colin. That's the 383 machine that just got a bit out of shape coming out of the green corner.
Mitchell Morrow.
Yeah, so a top 5 contender from heat number 1 in senior medium. First laps across the line for the fast group. Let's see it. To the loop. Anyone going to jump into the top 10? Nobody out of that first pack of them. In fact, the highest finisher out of that opening lap, would that have been Colin Warren a little further ways away in the 111?
That was indeed.
Yeah.
That's what I was just trying to point out. He jumped actually up to 6th position while not having too much of a tow. Remember, when it came down medium, he didn't put up the best qualifying effort because he didn't have anyone to draft with. Today, in this class at least,
he might catch a couple.
Yeah,
and he's going to catch some fast ones here. Shane Reddy, last lap, was the next best. Eli Warren also 10th on his opening lap. There's a look at the 19, Christopher McKeithen. Here's Lucas Theck, his teammate up ahead, making a move on Will Lawler there in the number 10. Second lap coming to a close, pass further back. This is Ramos going backwards. Closing in is Reagan Seville. And then here is a group of 4, neatly packed all the way back to the racing Cajun Cameron Reed. Aiden Lorenko leading another group down into the infield. Isaac Malquit with a big opening lap, and he was one of the last ones to transfer out of, or to be above the cut to go into the fast group. So he'll be a buzzer beater lap. The number 75, Little Sizzle, with a sizzling opening lap. A 1:12.316. Colin Warren's second lap, good enough for pole, good enough for second now, says Cameron Reed. She'll put Louisiana on top. Young still holding on to 4th now. with a new driver potentially all the way to the top of the board that we haven't gotten quite yet, even on Race Monitor. And of course, checking out the official new timing app for CKNA, Race Select. And there it is, Christopher McKeithen, 112 flat. Are we going to see a 111 here on this final time?
Yeah, it's going to be pushing it right now just with the way this track is, but the temperatures have seen these times rapidly pick up on average in each of these classes by 2 to 3 tenths compared to their happy hour pressure they're put on the racetrack. So I think the trend is saying it is strongly possible that we will see an increase here. It's just going to be, will there be enough here put up to be able to close that deficit for some of these other drivers as we see them line up behind the 75, for example, and ready to put down that final lap time.
Yeah, here we go. This is Malquit on the Mark Steel-backed Barrel Art. One more lap for him. Pulled away a little bit. That's Kelvin Zing there in the 666 right behind Lourenco. Final time's coming in. Colin Warren first to break into the 111s. It'll be a 111.82. Big lap out of the TS Racing VLR driver. Malquit will go to third. Zing will go to fifth. Cameron Reed to fourth. McKeithen second. Last group to the line. This is Addison Ianello leading the train down the straightaway. Does she get anywhere into the top 10? She does not. And while Colin Warren may have put up only a 30th in senior medium qualifying, he'll pull it in senior light by 2.5 tenths. Yeah, he didn't need a whole lot of draft, but he got at least more than enough here to put the deficit on him, Justin. That was a big-time lap from a big-time player and the winningest all-time Grand Nationals driver, Colin Warren, over Christopher McKeithen. Isaac Malquit, Cameron Reed and Company.
Too fast. Yeah. So I was like kind of breaking up a little bit, and then yeah.
But a big lap for the TS Racing VLR
Sitting
driver.
down here trackside with you, but that's a pole position. And again, we talked to you a little bit, right, earlier today. I'll give you a handshake, but we talked to you a little bit earlier today on how much it hurt you going out by yourself in senior medium. You have a chance to do it again. You put it on the pole. Tell me about the change in strategy after doing it already this morning.
After happy hour, I got first in happy hour in medium, and that didn't work very well in qualifying. I was by myself. My goal was 10th in light for happy hour, and I got 9th, and it worked out really well. I was able to get out there and it was fast. I'm fast in medium too, but I was able to show it here. So,
yeah, and again, it's been a rough start to your day, if you will, right? Putting medium behind you, another chance at it senior light. Is it a little bit refreshing, right? Having another chance at it here in the afternoon.
Well, it went better than warm up or happy hour, because happy hour I lost a chain on my final lap. So, I mean, yeah, I'm very happy with that for sure.
There you go, Colin. Wish you the best luck before you get to racing.
We've got a quick break in the on-track activity, folks. We will take a break ourselves, and it'll be time to go heat racing here for KC Premium members. Heat 1 for the PM groups. The afternoon sessions kicking off 7:05 p.m. local time, 4:05 p.m. Pacific. We're ready to drop the green for junior groups A and D.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Caleb? What's up, Brandon? You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah,
Got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like 20 bucks a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like 50 bucks a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today. Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go, come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico, it's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6.
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and 0 sugar?